just have to look at a variety of countries. I mean, all over Europe, you see that you have the rise of the extreme right. You see that you have extreme polarization in some countries. You can see that people are dissatisfied, go on the streets. You have lately COVID and attendant conspiracy theories, the aluminium hats, all over Europe. So if you look at Belarus, if you look at Poland, if you look at Hungary, if you look at Germany, if you look at France, Europe is just failing to convince people that it is able to respond to their needs. What we observe could be considered or called a creeping depoliticization of the last approximate 15 years. European Youth Works offers to young people have less and less political input. They have less and less political influence. They have less and less political subject matter. Issues which are current to the crises of Europe and the issues that Europe is, or the challenges that Europe is facing, are no longer the main content of European youth work. And actually thinking and talking about European youth work as having a political mission or having a political contribution to make, actually it makes practitioners and politicians feel very uncomfortable. And you see that in the policy debates around European youth work more and more. And probably most importantly, it has become increasingly difficult for projects which are treating politicized issues from the point of view of young people, whether that's something like race or xenophobia or LGBTQI rights, human rights in general. Any of those issues are finding it harder and harder to access funding. Been times at which youth work has been able to mobilize, has been able to politicize issues, has been able to influence agendas, and so on. If today these politicized issues are no longer necessarily part of youth work, then the pedagogy has to somehow bring them back in. And there has been a lot of work around thinking about conditions for that pedagogy, an emancipatory democratic pedagogy. If you include controversy, if you include critique, critical thinking, confidence building, that actually change is possible, right? That young people's attitude changes, that when power relations and structures and asymmetries are being addressed, whether those are in society or in the lives of the young people and the relationship between those two things, that dealing with those things and dealing with those issues in the context of youth work can create the kind of critical Europe awareness that we need in order to be able to influence or to have a say in those crises and to propose change. If we focus really on youth workers and this relationship of youth workers and young people, right? Then I think one of the really important points is for youth workers to understand that politics isn't a dirty word, and that having a political position or having had a reflection with young people, right, that represents their needs, their concerns, their issues in a political fashion in relation to what's going on in the world and in politics, in their place and in Europe, that this is not somehow out of bounds in the profession. Right?